So before we start, if you don't know me, I'm Keisha Cox. I'm a licensed clinical social worker, a yoga instructor, a holistic mental health coach. I'm founder of the Wellness Connection. Our goal is to empower people to nurture mind, body, and spirit, and have increased access and inclusivity to wellness modalities. We offer a range of services from group yoga and wellness workshops to individual coaching and therapy. So I am going to turn it over to Kamia so she can introduce herself and tell us more about what she does.
Awesome. Hi guys, I'm letting people in. Sorry. But thanks for coming out tonight. Thanks for showing up. It's great being able to share these things with you and the Wellness Connection family. So I'm just keeping it simple. Some of these concepts we already know, some may not know, and it's really just about when we talk about mental wellness. Those are the words I want. We tend to think just about either just the physical as well, or it's kind of encompasses everything in your life. And if you think about that, if you have less anxiety, in certain aspects of your life, then you're able to, go on to a journey of self-discovery and, more discipline and, just living a better life, right? So part of our anxiety, besides what has been going on for the past 2 years, like that has created a humongous amount of anxiety. But along with that is, mainly a lot of people lost their jobs. A lot of people had to adjust to a new way of working when they were used to working 9 to 5s and things of that sort. So there was a lot of anxiety that grew, not just around, the pandemic, but around also people's finances, if that makes sense. So I just wanted to go over it's like 8 ways because the main thing is people, when you don't feel like you have control over anything, is when your anxiety builds up. I find that that's kind of the key to anxiety in any capacity. So if I'm in an elevator and feel like I'm going to get stuck, I've lost control of being able to move and now I'm panicking, right? So I always say if you can gain control of your money, then a lot of other things can fall into place, which will bring you peace of mind in other areas of your life. And there's 8 ways to gain control. I hope everybody brought their pens and papers, because this is not just like nodding your head and saying, yeah, I know that. No, we're going to write these things down. Okay. So
I'm going to interrupt you for a second, because I know I have a lot of clients that I deal with that come to me for anxiety. And one of the things that I incorporate into treatment is to control the controllable, because there's so many things out there that is happening that we have no control over. Like you said, the loss of control induces anxiety. So I try to help them to find things that they can control and act on that. So this is why this is really good.
right. Yeah, thank you for actually bringing that up, because and being that you said that, let me bring up what I want to show you guys before I get into those 8 ways. Because there's a number of things that we're not able to control. So what we can do is learn how to control the things we can control. And believe it or not, finance is one of those things. You just have, have a plan, a system in place. So I work with a lot of people. I work with children as well. And we have this workbook called How Money Works. And in that, it just gives us a real tangibles to be able to start some type of process to getting to that point of having control over your finances. So looking for it right now, because it looks different here. But I want to ask people, when it comes to your finances, do you feel that you have any control over it in any way? Just want to get that out to the people.
I
Don't
wouldn't
anybody answer
say
it? Huh?
I wouldn't say no control. I think lack of, what's the word? Self-control?
Lack of self-control. Okay. Anyone else?
I agree with Ty with the control, and I'm gonna go a little further than lack of self-control, but I think sometimes it's the whole mindset. Um, and that inner critic that we have that tells us that we can't do things or it's not for us. So sometimes we look for gratification, immediate, and we don't like have that discipline because the goal seems so like far out there or far-fetched, and it's like, oh, I'm never gonna get there. It's gonna take too long. So we kind of talk ourselves out of staying disciplined or keeping that control.
Separating your needs from your wants sometimes.
Say that again.
Separating your needs from your wants.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That is a key component. Because what really has to happen, like, we're all human beings. It's a matter of the mindset is first to me, because you have to make up your mind to say, listen, I'm going to follow these concepts so I can, because the rule books is out there. Like we have financial advisors, we have people that are learning to be financial advisors, getting licensed out here, that are able to help people create a plan and a roadmap to be able to get there. I can't pull this thing up right now, so I'm just going to go over the 8 ways to take control. And one of the very first ways, besides working on your mentals, is paying yourself first. If anybody goes to church, I think that's one of the first lessons we were taught. With tithes, like, we give 10%. So we can do that for God. We can't do that for ourselves, right? Most of the time when we get our check, it's already spent. I think Keisha and I just had this conversation. It's like, it's already spent. It's gone already. But we can still take control of that, because we can control what bills we're going to pay, how we're going to pay them. Like, it all comes together. So even if you just put 5% away when you first start, that's better than nothing at all. So I think the one thing you have to wrap your head around is just taking small steps. You don't have to take big, giant steps. I remember I always said my first introduction into finance was with Busta Rhymes, because he was talking about money market accounts. And I was like, I don't even know what that is. That's for people like him. He has hundreds of thousands of dollars, so I can never get a money market account. But all I had to do was do some research to find out that, yes, I can start that as well. So it's just about opening your mind to education, opening your mind to several references and several ways of getting things done. Give me 1 second. There's a child calling my name, beginning that I said I was in a meeting. 1 second.
So while she's doing that, and I know this is something that we talk about, I think every time we meet, is the small steps. I think a lot of times we have these lofty goals, which is great, but sometimes we sort of outplan ourselves, and then it becomes discouraging because it takes a long time to get there, or it's really hard. So it's like, if you want to lose weight, you're not going to just go the whole day with just water and carrots every day, because it's going to be tremendously hard, aside from unhealthy. And that rush to meet the goal is not maintainable. So the same thing, I think, applies to finances and taking small steps. Like, we want to have $1 million in our bank account, but it's not going to happen overnight. So like Kamia said, we start small. And when you start small, it's easier to be consistent. And if you're consistent, then you reach the goal, as opposed to trying to have some lofty savings plan and then you can't make it consistently, and then you feel like you failed and give up.
Definitely. I like that. Thank you. So yeah, that definitely is a component there. And because you get a lot of anxiety thinking about how much money you need to save, especially now. Some of us are in our 40s. I always told, our kids, like, Ty, this is the best time to learn how to save your money, so that by the time that you're our age, you can actually tangibly be a millionaire. because like she said, it's about time and consistency and discipline. So, number one was paying yourself first. And number two kind of goes along with that, adjusting your priorities. This is just about being real with yourself. Like you can, people lie, numbers don't lie. So you can say, oh, I have enough saved up, but if you don't crunch those numbers, you'll never really know. Even if you have someone that's crunching the numbers for you, I always felt it's important to actually also know what's going on with your own money. When I was thinking about owning my own studio, which I still will, I always said, listen, I'm a photographer, but I want to be able to say, hey, John, the accountant, that doesn't look right because I already know how it's supposed to look. I'll let him handle it, but I'm keeping that eye. How many times have we heard people say, oh, my manager stole all my money. My accountant took all my money. It's like, do you want to be the person that's going to let it just fly by in the wind, or are you going to take control of that? It's all about taking control of what you can control, and you can control adjusting your priorities, right? And like Keisha said before, changing your way of thinking. I'm an avid self-development reader. One of the books that helped me switch how I thought about money is called The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. It's by T. Harv Eker. I'll put that in the chat so you know how to spell it. But that is a really great book. He's not a religious guy, but he was able to use some Bible verses to explain how we're supposed to be thinking about money, how God actually set it up for us to think about it. And it basically tells us in layman's terms, it's like, it's a sin to be poor. It's a sin because it's like, it sounds crazy, but he gave us the tools to be able to make these things happen. Sometimes we're just not listening. So it's like you're not listening to his word, you're kind of going against his word, la, 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 if that's what you believe in. But I believe that, like, we're not supposed to be broke. He gave us a world of abundance. We're supposed to learn how to do that.
I
The
was
next
just
thing,
yesterday that the owner of the yoga school that I'm in, he was, he does this like marketing call every week. I don't know if I shared it with you too, but he was, saying like people were criticizing him and saying, Nikolai, you always talk about marketing and making money, and yoga's not about making money. Yoga's supposed to be spiritual. He was like, there's nothing spiritual about being homeless. Nothing.
exactly, exactly. Nothing at all. Like, it's like, and I don't know, the entrepreneurs here in the chat, or those that were even thinking about it, I don't have you experienced people almost making you feel bad for wanting more. It's like we've been conditioned to think, oh, you want more than, more than you need to survive. Oh, you're being greedy. You're being this and that. When there's millions of people, thousands of people sitting here learning these concepts and making, like, creating legacies for their families, leaving money and knowledge behind. Like, especially when I speak to people and say, oh, me and my parents, they taught me that a long time ago. We have all that set up. That makes me smile. I'm like, wow. But then it makes me sad because I'm like, well, why are you not teaching that to other people? That's why I like what I do. A lot of people, I'm finding that they have the knowledge, but they're not telling you. Like, it's going to dip into their pocket somehow. I actually had someone I recruit looking for people that want to share this knowledge with people as well. And one woman told me, she said, I just don't want to share it. I'll keep it for myself. I was like, wow, like, just to admit that. It's like, okay. So that really fed my desire to really get the knowledge out there.
I think that probably relates to the anxiety too, because we feel like there's limited resources and, we got to fight each other and keep things for ourselves.
Yeah.
It's like mind, we run with it. But there is an abundance of wealth. It's not evenly spread, so it doesn't seem like there is. Most of the wealth is with a small percentage of the population, but there is abundance of wealth, and we can spread out more equally. I think that's the goal.
Yeah. And I think sometimes anxiety will lead us to the blame game. It's like, well, because he's a white guy, he's got money and his parents taught him. Yeah, but there's a whole sect of people that are, Lena Horne wasn't born broke. They had a legacy. They had a brownstone in Brooklyn that they've had in their family for generations. Like, we taught these other people, the Fords, the Rockefellers, we taught them how to build the wealth that way. They took it and ran. What are we doing? Right? We just have to relearn it. Adjusting your lifestyle. You don't have to get Starbucks every day. Now, it's not saying you shouldn't, starve yourself or, keep yourself from enjoying certain things in life. It's just about budgeting. You can budget the same way you budget for your bills, the same way you budget for your insurances to pay off, the same way you do that. It's the same way I have to budget for my spa day. I have to budget for, but it's all about, again, control. Stop letting things just fly in the wind. Like, gain control of that. And one of the best ways to make sure you have enough money is earning additional income. I've been telling people before 2020 hit, 2020 is going to become a gig economy. Didn't think it would end up this way. We're a little forceful with the gig economy, but it really, a lot of people suffer, but a lot of people strived. We can't ignore the people that were able to turn things around and create businesses that were helping other people, just creating that whole circle of life with earning that extra income and having some business sense and being an entrepreneur. Some people that weren't even thinking about it before said, why not? I'm sitting at home doing nothing. Let's try it. And even then there were memes with people saying, oh, stop making people feel guilty for not doing anything. I was like, then how will they ever strive for anything if we don't push them? You always heard something that triggered you to say, oh, really? That's not going to happen. I'm going to show you how this is going to happen. And a lot of people did that. So earning extra income, there's too many ways to do that. Remotely, little bit pocket change to thousands of dollars a month. And realigning your assets. That's why it's important. A lot of people have, they looked at their finance once 10 years ago and feel that they know that everything is still okay today. And I always tell people the same way we have physicals every year for our body, we need to have those checkups for our finances as well. You should take a look at your portfolio and what you have at least every 6 to 12 months. And if your financial advisor is not calling you to do that with you, well, take a look into that, because that's that's what I was trained to do. I'll put it that way. And I've just been following financial experts that are out there, not just with the company I work with. And you want to avoid credit traps. Credit. We love it, we hate it, right? And, hiring companies to deal with your credit, I apologize if there's people out there that work with these companies, or if you know people that work with them. But for the most part, it's just learning the concepts of how to raise your credit. And you can really look that up online and Google it. It's all about, again, putting in the discipline, actually putting it into actions. And one of the last ones is setting a goal and having a plan. Because you think about it, most people don't plan to fail, they just fail to plan. Would you agree? Right? And with that, most of the people, they just don't have an education. Most people don't have the plan, and then they don't have that coach to keep them accountable to make sure that they have their things straight. I think my clients think I'm harassing them sometimes, but I'm just making sure you're up to date with your stuff. And that's my goal of being in this genre, is to make, people work with me. I'll make sure that they keep up with their things, because everyone has a busy life. And a lot of the excuses people make is, I don't have time to think about that. And my question to them is, well, will you be able to think about it when you're not here? You really won't. So the time is now. But those are like some simple concepts. And, I don't want to bombard you with a whole lot of rhetoric. It's just, those are simple concepts that start there. And if you need that accountability person, find someone, either that that's really good with money, or someone like me that's, into financial coaching, into helping people handling their finances better and getting to where they want to be in life, eventually. So yeah.
I want to just emphasize that last step, that setting a goal and having a plan. And that's so universal to anything.
Yeah.
If you want to lose weight, you set a goal, how much weight you want to lose. You create a plan about your diet and exercise. If you want to go on vacation, you set a goal of where you want to go and make a plan out how you're going to get there, hotel, airfare. So the same thing, is true with finances. So everything we want to be successful in or with, or anything we want to achieve, it starts with creating a goal and a plan. We can think about it, we could dream about it, but until we create a plan of how we're going to get there, we're not most likely not going to succeed unless we have it.
Exactly. And that's just the first step. Did anyone have any questions or comments that they want to make about what we went over just now? Just, your in your experience with any of this, whether you're successful, not successful, looking to be successful, and having a plan.
No questions? I'm going to talk. So I'm going to I have a client that I'm working with. And I don't know her financial situation specifically, but she is pretty well off, I'm assuming, because she vacations often and she goes to places like the Maldives. She took back-to-back cruises like for 2 weeks the other day. And she owns a home, is building an Airbnb over the garage, and just bought a second home for a rental property. So I'm thinking she's pretty secure, but she has a lot of anxiety around money because at one point she did not have anywhere to live and she was like staying in a hotel. And so she was working 3 jobs, not like 3 parts. I think 1 was part-time, but 2 were full-time. And just like running herself ragged. So she finally let go of 2 of the jobs and she's working 1 job and she is so anxious about having just 1 source of income. And I know a lot of times we talk about having multiple sources of income, but I think also, us in the Black community, we feel like that means we have to have 10 jobs. And I don't think that's what the concept was about. It's not about having 10 jobs. It's about investing and having passive income and other ways of having money coming in. I keep telling her, like, you bought rental property, that's income. You have an Airbnb, that's income. You don't have to have 3 jobs, but there's so much anxiety around money and not having enough income, even though she has it, so it's the mindset that's there.
Definitely. And I like that you brought that up. That's a great example of how, when I talk to a lot of people, oh, I'm good. I had this, I had that. I go here, I go there. And all that really sounds like to me is that you know how to spend a lot of your money, or you keeping a lot of your money. Like that's why it's like when I deal with people, we deal with them one-on-one. We don't advertise anywhere, anything like that, because this is like a serious topic, and it's a personal topic. So it's like when you want to sit across from someone that has your best interest at heart to talk about and go through these things. And the way we go through things for people like, I wasn't even thinking of that. Oh, I didn't think to look there. And when you ask, it's simple questions. How much do you have saved now? How much have you been putting away every month? Nothing. Oh, but you have thousands here. You have your Airbnb. Like, people with a lot of money, you're making 6 figures and you don't have anything saved up. You're making 6 figures and you haven't, secure. You have a trust for your children. You don't have will done. Like, important things that I don't want to just say as white people, because there are a lot of us that are in the know. But like I said, they don't share the information. But it's like, it's almost like making sure you brush your teeth, you take a shower type of thing. Like, these are things you're supposed to have. These are things you're supposed to be thinking about. And I know a lot of hesitation, especially with insurance, is people, I don't want to think about dying. I'm like, well, when you're gone, it'll be a little late. Think about it then. I gotta think about it now. And I mean, it's like I feel like I'm speaking common sense, but I know common sense is not common to everybody. And a lot of times people don't like to be told what to do. But, my whole goal is, hey, if you ask me, I'll let you know. And I'm going to share this knowledge with you because it's helping me. Am I perfect? No. I think a lot of people think, oh, you're doing finance, you must be perfect with it. No, I'm doing the finance. I'm here learning because I was horrible with it. And I'm still learning. I'm way better than I was when I first started, but I still have a lot of ways to go. And I really think a lot of people think you're supposed to be perfect. You're supposed to have it all, know it all, right then, make no mistakes. If you make a mistake, oh, I've ruined everything. That's where all the most anxiety comes from as well. It's like, oh, I have to really know. Literally, all you need is the education, a plan, and a coach, someone to help you. You don't have to do it alone. And I think that's another thing. People feel like they have to do it alone because they feel like I'm an idiot. I'm 45 years old and I don't have this and that. No, it's fine. It's a lot of us out there. There are 60-year-olds that have nothing at all, but they gave up. So my whole thing is I'm just here to tell people you don't have to give up. It's not too late to start.
That's that idea of doing things perfectly is something that I deal with a lot too. With again, another universal thing. Like when you have a goal and you're working towards a goal, people think it's just like, oh, we're going to do this and get there, and it's
Right.
more like this. And so when it starts to decline or you make a mistake and you mess up, that doesn't mean that you failed. That means that you have to refocus, reassess, and get back on track. So I think a lot of people get discouraged when, and they have a lot of guilt and self-blame and embarrassment when they're not doing things perfectly. And then again, that self-talk comes in, their mindset shifts, like I can't do this, it's not going to work. Instead of saying, you know what, I didn't do it right today, but tomorrow I'm going to work on getting back on track.
As long as you, and sorry if you hear this music, they're partying out there. That's the main, that's what, besides meditation and some yoga, that's what calmed my anxiety down, knowing I didn't have to be perfect, knowing that, okay, every night I do my schedule for the next day. So it's like, all right, what didn't I do today? But, I did this today. And I don't care if it's all I did was brush my teeth. I'm going to acknowledge that that's what I did today. And I accomplished a goal. And tomorrow I'm going to do something better. Right. And once you start thinking like that, again, it's still not that easy. This kind of goes with what I was saying. But, but it's not easy. But that's what places like the Wellness Connection is for. Like a group of people that you can help you stay accountable for the goals that you want for your life. We're not supposed to do it alone. This is what we're all here for, to come together and help each other with no bias, no judgment. Just, hey, we're all in the same boat. Or maybe one of us is, can teach us a thing or two about what they're doing correctly and consistently.
So I have a question. So I read years ago, I don't remember where I read it, but they were talking about, I think there was a really good book I read, and I think it was in this book called The Automatic Millionaire. I don't know if you're familiar with that. I don't remember who wrote it, but I remember one of the first things he said was pay yourself first. And then he mentioned about having like baskets in terms of financial security. So you had like your savings, you had like long-term savings, you had like emergency money, and then also like, you want to have security like insurance and things like that. So he was basically saying like divide things into different baskets. And I don't remember the details. And I don't know if you're familiar with that concept, if you could tell us more about it.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's one of the things I want to show you in my my little worksheet, but it's okay. And this is what I learned, like we're taught to keep our money in the bank and we have checking and savings and that's it, right? But once you learn how much the bank is garnering in rates of return, You want to find out other places where you can save your money. And not only is where you save it, like you said, it's 3 accounts that can get you started on the right road. And you don't have to start all of them at the same time either. It's like building your financial house. Let me just go back one step. The whole key to financial success is building a substantial house. And when you're building a house, what's the most important part of the house to build first?
The foundation.
Foundation. Exactly. And if you ain't got nowhere to step on, you got a roof, but you're standing in midair, you're swinging in the air. So you want to build your foundation, and the foundation, a lot of people like to, not agree, but the foundation of financial success is life insurance. Because when you think about it, it's about the theory of decreasing responsibility. In the early years, you come out of college, you don't have thousands of dollars in case something happens to you, right? So you want to make sure that you're paying for the thousands of dollars. So in case something happens, no one has to come out their pocket. You can also start a comprehensive savings program, which consists of, like you said, emergency fund. As if, like with the pandemic that happened, you needed to get some emergency, food and things like that. You were able to dip into that account instead of using the money that you're using for your bills to do that. You have that money set aside. Then there's short term. You want to buy a house, you want to go on vacation, you want to buy a car. That's the money you set aside. And we usually say 6 to 12 months of your salary saved up. Emergency fund, 3 to 6 months of your salary saved up. And then there's the long term investment, which is for your retirement, which is the longest vacation you'll ever take. So it's a little important. You want to put away for that. And like, I'll give you a real life scenario. I couldn't start all 3 when I first started. So I got my life insurance and I did my long term, and I started an emergency fund, because especially nowadays, you can start an investment account for as little as $25, $50 a month. Remember, I was talking about the money market accounts. I thought you had to start with 100,000 off the bat. I was like, no, you can start with $50. Like, think about, do you need, I don't want to dip into people's version of their self-care, but do you need that weave this month? Maybe we can put that to the side, rock a short haircut for a little bit just to save that money. It's all about personal sacrifice. What's more important to you? That goes with the adjusting your priorities. And when I sit down with people and go through this with a fine tooth comb, they find out, like, wow, it's not as bad as I thought. I don't have to adjust as much as I thought. Oh, I just have to change this or that. Then I'm able to do something. And all you need is somewhere for a long period of time, consistently growing, you know, to make sure you have a great savings plan. Because I don't know if you guys know, Social Security 2030 is starting to be null and void. And a lot of people depend on their Social Security. A lot of people don't have pensions, but pension companies are closing every day. It's closing down, and people, oh, they had a pension, they were bragging about it, and then the next month they don't have pensions anymore. So it's like, what do you do when those safety nets that you thought were in place disappear? You can do your own plan. Just sit down with somebody that can help you map it out and take it step by step. So yeah, that's definitely awesome concept that you heard, because that is a part of the financial house that we coach our clients on. Those are the foundations, and especially wills. Um, I used to think it was about, oh, I don't have anything. Kids gonna keep my socks. I don't have anything to say, to leave behind. But no, it's really just about, do you want the state to, you know, decide what happens with your things, or do you want to be in control? There's the word control again. Simple paperwork have you in control of all of your assets, no matter how big or how small. Having those things in place. Who's going to speak for you when you wake up one day, you've lost your voice? We never know what's going to happen. And If nothing teaches us that, it's so teaching us that now. So yeah, I don't want to.
You were talking about prioritizing, and it's not really about savings, but people always say, like, you're always traveling, and how do you have money to travel, and it's so expensive? And my response is, I eat air for lunch, which
Exactly.
I'm exaggerating.
Right, but
I stopped buying breakfast. I used to buy breakfast and lunch every day. I used to order out during the week. Like, I cut all of that out, and now I have money to travel. You would be very surprised how that adds up. That $5, that $10 throughout the week, it adds up, and by the end of the year, that you can pay for 2 vacations.
exactly. It's that's why it goes back to the mindset. How bad do you want what you want? Do you really want that breakfast, or do you want to eat that breakfast on a bench on the cliff by the sea? I went back to Trinidad, y'all. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And that's a perfect example.
Africa. I mean, I know that Ghana trip is $4,500, and people their jaw drop. Like, I don't have $4,500. I'm like, well, I don't have it either, but I'm gonna find a way to get it because, like I said, I'm gonna cut back some things. You see, I don't have no weave. You see what my hair is doing when you don't. But I'm gonna cut back and make some sacrifices and put that money aside so I could take that trip. So the same thing, you got to figure out what's important. You need to save money. You need to, invest in that insurance, whatever it is. You just have to figure out how you can make it happen. You can always rework things and prioritize, to get to your goals, whatever that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's really all it is. And I think the most important thing that most people leave off the table is ask for help. Ask for the help. If Keisha knows me, and I think she's seen my adjustment because now I have some knowledge of, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do with this money. Oh, okay. And now it's a little different. Still an uphill battle, but it's still a little different, and I'm on the right road. Like, I'm not going down the wrong road. I'm going up the right road. And that's what's important. So it's like, that's why I tell people, even if you're good, don't be selfish. Somebody else might not be as good as you. They can say that they're good. They can say that that they have everything. But 9 times out of 10, in my experience, and it's been 8 years, people that are making 6 figures tell me they're okay. And you literally, the one question that stumps them all the time, how much do you have saved? And they can't answer that. Or they get upset. Or, they're just disappointed. Like, I was in a meeting with a client, like, he was so excited. He's like, yeah, got this. It's like, all right, let's break it down. Like, what's your FIN number? That's something important for people to know. And FIN number is just your financial independence number. Fancy way of talking about retirement. How much money have you accumulated so that you don't have to ever work again? Not retire and then go work at Walmart. That's not retirement. And I think we've been conditioned to think that that's just what it is, because that's all we can do. I just got to work this job for 40 years. What is that news that broke a couple of months ago? The guy that was working for Burger King for like 30 something years, they gave him a gift bag of crap, just to be honest. People put a lot of faith. Before I even say that, a lot of people are working careers that they love and they're being very successful at it. There's a lot that are not. They're working jobs just to be working it so they can make money and pay their bills. So it's like a lot of those people put a lot of faith into a contract that you sign that says we can terminate you at any time. But they feel that that's secure. But if you tell them, oh, you can do this type of business, you could do jewelry, you could do makeup, you could do whatever. Oh, I don't like people. I don't want to talk to people. You talk to people every day for your job. So if you could do it for someone else's business and make them rich, why can't you do it for yourself?
Yeah, it's that mindset. And a lot of people feel like that's not secure.
Yeah.
Too risky.
Right. But tell me if this situation, when can you build a business while having the job that pays your bills. You have the job that pays your bills, but you could start a business on the side 1 or 2 hours when you're just, fiddling with your toes, watching Who's the Boss. Instead of taking that hour to do that, you could take an hour to put into a business that can give you passive income. Like, why wouldn't you work towards something like that when you have there's no risk, because you can still work your job. But some people still, it's like when I say part-time, they think, oh, 30, 20 hours. I'm like, no. Do you have an hour a month? And that's with any of these businesses that are out here. And there are a lot of legit businesses that you can make passive income that way. You just have to kind of comb through them. And so I kind of like, I recruit for my business, but I also I tell people about other things that are going on because not a lot of people like what I do. And that's fair and that's fine. So it's like, but there's so many other ways of making passive income out there. It's kind of scary. And, if you think about any millionaire or people that are rich that have money, they always talk about several streams of income, which you spoke about earlier. No matter what it is, but you don't want those hardcore jobs because that's going to take up all your time. You want something that's going to make you the same amount of money that you would make at a job with less hours. Like, who doesn't think that's ideal?
Right. And I know you mentioned it earlier, but I guess the difference is a job and a career, right? People have careers and they're building with the careers. That's different than having a job, like you said, that you're not fulfilled, that you're working, and the reward is not there in the end.
Yeah. And I can even go as far as saying there's people that have careers that still look at several streams of income because they're like, okay, my career is not going to be I'm not going to do this forever.
Right.
I love it, but I'm not going to do it forever. What am I going to do after?
Yeah.
I work with a lot of retired people. They're like, why not?
Yeah, and I think a lot of people wait until they're retiring to think about retirement.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We should be planning for it from day one.
Definitely. That's why.
The exit plan.
Right. And I can't stress enough. I know Tata's going to be like, shut up. But that's, I told her, I'm like, oh my God, at your age, you know how much money you can accumulate? Do you know? And when you're our age, she'll be in Trinidad every week or some island somewhere. She'll be able to do that. Yeah, she could start now.
Yeah.
And a lot of people
starting small.
Yeah, just starting small. $5 in the cup in your drawer. I don't care. Do that every week. Set, and put that somewhere every month. It's just about mindset, discipline, consistency of your execution of all of that.
Very good stuff. Does anybody have any questions before Kamia goes? We have 5 minutes? 7 minutes?
7.
Well, I know I've had, hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Hi, Teresa.
Hi, I've had my mic muted because I'm in here doing 1,000 things while I am listening and participating. And I find this to be very, very interesting and helpful, even as I was considering hiring someone to help me with my finances because I'm all over the place. So, and when you're talking about retirement, I just always had the attitude that I would just never retire. Like I'm just always going to be working,
Right.
but you mentioned a few factors that could, possibly put me in a situation where maybe I can't work, you know what I mean? That I didn't think about. We're not going to always be healthy and not always be strong enough to do the things that we're doing. And I never really considered that. I'm just always thinking, I'm just going to work. And I am one of those persons that, would work 2-3 different jobs. I've always done it, and I don't see any other way. So when you talk about that, you definitely helped me to understand how much I need to slow down and focus on my financial well-being, because I have a really bad habit of taking care of everyone, like getting paid and then taking care of everyone else. And then I wind up with very little. And then I say, okay, that's fine. I can do with this, you know. And I'm the type of person that, no, I don't go to Starbucks every day. I am stingy in some areas in that I will not buy food out. I prepare my food every week, which is what I'm doing now for the week, you know, for me to carry with me every single day, even down to the water, like water, everything. Like there's nothing I'm stopping at the store for, nothing at all. Because as soon as you stop at the store, you start seeing other things, you know, that you need. Oh, I'm just going to get a bottle of water. And next thing you know, oh, let me get this, let me get that. So for about 8 years now, I've just been the type of person that I am constantly carrying my food out with me. And I kick myself whenever I don't prepare and I don't have anything prepared. I kick myself. And then I say, oh, well, it's peanut butter and jelly, you know, like, so.
Ain't nothing wrong with PB&J, baby.
And nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it. But I am also not financially stable either. Do I have the life insurance in place? Yes. Could I be doing more in terms of saving and things like that? Absolutely. So yeah, I'm going to wind up being one of your customers because I need a whole lot of help. I need a whole lot of help.
No problem. That's the first. That's the first step. Being aware and knowing.
Right. I think my biggest issue is making sure I have not just for me, but for everybody, like in my family, like, oh, you know, I have money aside, but that's just in case Nicole or David calls me and they need something, an emergency.
Right.
That's the kind of mother I am. You know, it's like, and I've always done it and they know it. So they always call, especially my son, you know, so, you know, that needs to change, especially since they're grown and they don't live with me.
Exactly. And I was about to say, the automatic millionaire, definitely. I was about to say that that's why I went into my kids' school when they were in the 3rd grade. And these kids know more than you think, which is amazing. But it's never too early to start to teach them that stuff. Because guess what? When you get that life insurance, you have all these things. When you're not here, who's going to know what to do?
Right.
Your children, your beneficiaries.
I mean, you know, in passing, we've discussed it, but it's nothing solid. Right. You know, like my daughter knows, my son knows, but it's nothing solid that, you know, I have anything written.
Definitely.
And that needs to happen. That does need to happen.
Definitely. So yeah, that's great. And then even sitting down with you, also always invite the children to the discussion so they can learn, not just for you, but since they're also grown, for themselves, because mommy doesn't have that much saved up to be able to take care of, you know, God forbid anything happens. Yeah.
You got to start with those grandbabies, because I think that's the issue with a lot of us, is that we haven't had these conversations coming up. So this is all new for us, and we're learning it now as adults, as opposed to like if you start early with your kids and show them with the grandkids, you know, this is how you invest and this is what you do. It's normal when they come up. It's a normal part of life. This is what we're supposed to do, because they don't have literacy in schools. You know,
it's not like a chore, something new that they've never heard of, something that they just automatically do. It should be embedded, you know. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, these kids, I talk to so many people overseas and they're looking at me like, this is a thing? Like, she's like, we were taught that like out the womb. And I'm like, well, here in America,
we're taught to work until we can't work no more, and then we retire and hope we're okay after that. So Ty, I'm gonna ask you a question. I'm not the best with, you know, the finances, but I tried my best. I don't know if you remember one of the things that we did when you were way younger. I think I'm gonna give you a hint. It has something to do with Disney. Do you remember that?
The bonds.
It was stock, actually, but
stock. Yes, I do remember. Yes, they would send like their things.
Do you remember enough to share what that was?
I mean, basically, I had like stock in Disney, right?
Yeah.
I
I'm
don't
sure
remember.
you still do somewhere. I don't know where it is.
Yeah. I can't remember
Yeah.
how often they would send like the statement, but every now and then I got like a little check for like $1.
A couple. Yeah, we had one share.
Yeah.
But it was to start off. And I
Okay.
think it was like, I don't remember how old you were, but I think you were still in elementary school, and I think you picked and Andy picked like Viacom,
Like Nickelodeon or something?
Yeah, Viacom. Yeah, so I went online with them. It was called One Share. I don't know if that's still around, but you can like buy like one share, and they sent a certificate. So it was really more symbolic than like an actual like moneymaker. So they sent like a stock certificate, and the Disney one had all the characters on it. So she was like all excited.
I thought it was like the whole. Yeah, I was about to say. I thought it was like the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, you remember, like, I own part of Disney. Like,
Yeah.
And they would send like maybe checks for 50 cents like every year. That was like her return on the share. I don't know what happened with that. I have to check into it. I like actually forgot about it. But it was like a great teaching tool, I think. So I'm glad you remembered it.
Yeah. And that's so awesome because like the kids, I got them stocks. And especially these days in time, they made it so much easier. Like people like to say, "Oh, I've done I got something in Cash App." I'm like, "Yeah, Cash App, Acorn, what's the all of those little ones are awesome to start to get like in a habit, but also, I'm able to point you to where you can do mutual funds, diversify."
Right.
So you'll have stock in Disney and Viacom and all the different companies at once. And you can either you can just reinvest it or you can receive those little checks every quarter. I believe it's every quarter that you would get it. So it's like you can control how you get your money. A lot of people like
Keisha, you might want to check. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was saying, Keisha, you might want to check the Office of the State Comptroller. Your money might have wound up there.
Yeah, Ty, you might have like a little stockpile of those 25 cents added up over the years. Because I actually forgot all about it. Start talking about it.
I have to cash out.
Yeah, and I'm
or reinvest.
I found a lot of money going to that site and just typing my name in and searching. And even for my family members. And one of my friends who was into rapping and stuff like that back in the 90s. And one day I was just sitting up and I was telling him about it. And he was like, "Oh, type my name in." Came to find out he had thousands of dollars just sitting there on the site. All he had to do was claim it.
Yeah. And I'm so glad you brought that up, Teresa, because it's when we sit down with our clients, we comb through all of that stuff. I have my investment specialist. His name is Nick Stewart. He's excellent. He's fully licensed, and he can get through all of that. He'll go find a 401k account you had at a job that was like 12 years ago. Because a lot of people leave their money. They don't think about it. I know I didn't think about it at all.
Right. Yeah.
And that money you're talking about, 401ks left at old jobs, that they're not going to tell you that you can come and get it. Of course not. So they can keep it. So it's like, like, that's what I love.
They're not supposed to. They're not supposed to keep it. And they're supposed to report it after a certain number of years to the Office of the State Comptroller. And there it will sit until you claim it. I don't care what happened. It will not move until you actually claim it. You prove who you are and you actually claim it. It's just going to sit there.
Exactly. But how many of us know that?
Right. Not a lot of us.
So that's why it's like, man, people can
look at me. I just stumbled across it. I got desperate one day many years ago and needed money. And I was like, I got to find money, and I went onto one of those sites. I was like, how you get money fast? And that was one of the suggestions to look. You might have money sitting there that you don't know about. And surely I did. And then not only did I, but my sister, my friend, I started typing everybody's name.
You got money. You got money. Exactly. And that's, I want to start doing more of these types of workshops. I've been, partnering with different people because health is wealth, wealth is health. It's all combined. It all goes hand in hand, I would say. And it just, just imagine the feeling that you get with meditating and the feeling that you get with yoga, and then just feeling like you look at your account, you're like, wow, I got that much saved up. This is awesome. And think of how
Right.
beautiful your day would be.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I really
Yeah.
thank you, Pam, for taking the time out to do this and sharing what you
Definitely.
know.
Yeah.
I think what
Awesome.
we did not do, you did not tell people how to reach you and what you can help them with. So if you could just let us know before you go.
Definitely. I can be reached. I am on IG as Focus Cam Financial. Focus is spelled with a PH. So that's PHOCUSKAM Financial. That is on IG, that is on Twitter, and that is on Facebook as well. And you can, message me there. You can email me at noboss. I'll put this in the chat so you can just copy and paste it. But you can email me. You can call me. If you're ready to write this down as well, it's 929-399-9175. I'm also going to put that there. But yeah, just call me. We can set a time. We can sit down. You can tell me what you want to do, and then we'll take it from there.
Very good.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
It sounds great.
You're welcome. Thanks for
Thank
coming.
you, Kamia.
You're welcome, my Tai.
All right, you guys have a great night. Hopefully we will see you again next month with another topic.
All righty. Have a great week, everyone.
Have a good
Great
night.
information.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jermaine. Bye.
All
Bye
right.
bye.